Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Renzo, for the for inviting me. And this work I was actually done like quite a long time ago. Like the data was acquired during pandemic with Taylor's help. And at that time, I was still like in Peter's group at NIH. And in this work, we tested one very simple idea to use. Let me turn on. Oh, can you see my like a cursor, like a movie? Great, great.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So in this work, we test a very simple idea. Use the respiration variation, like in normal fMRI, to use this information to reduce the macrovascular bias and then improve laminar fMRI specificity. And some background introduction for layer-fMRI specificity. We all know like a bold is kind of limited because of two reasons. One is genuine wing effects, and the second is the influence of large wings. And usually people think like a CBV or CBF-based fMRI are uh, better, like have better specificity, like than bold, because CBV, CBF-based, they are focused on the arterial part. There's no genuine effects, so the specificity is better. But I think like at least I think like for CBV, CBF based fMRI, you are still sensitive to the intravascular contrast from large vessels. Because when you are, for example, doing CBV, like you see vessel or vapor, when you do blood suppression, in addition to the small vessels, you are also suppressing the blood in large vessels. So if there's any intravascular contrast change in large vessels, you are still sensitive to it. And if you are using ASL, unless your post-labeling delay time is perfect, which is very difficult because different brain regions, they have different arterial transit time. So ASL may also have more or less some contributions from large vessels. So to solve this issue or to reduce this bias from large vessels, we tried one very simple like idea, just use the respiration variation information in fMRI to reduce this bias. And we know like when we're doing fMRI, we are doing it in a living subject. The subject will breathe, and their breathing will change. And if the breathing change, the arterial level of CO2 will change. So this will cause vasodilation or vasoconstriction, cause like a cerebral blood volume change. And cerebral blood volume change will result in cerebral blood flow change, oxygen change, border change. So respiration variations in fMRI, it will cause significant fMRI signal fluctuation. And we usually consider this as a noise. So it has been a lot of effort to, for example, using methods like retro ICOR or other correction method to reduce this respiration caused fMRI signal fluctuation. However, instead of considering those respiration variation fluctuation as a noise, we can it actually could be a very useful information because respiration variation patterns in brain could reflect macrovascular density distribution. And it has been in previous research, it has been showed this could be useful to improve fMRI specificity at 3T and at a low resolution. So in this study, we extended the idea to layer fMRI at 7T, just use the natural respiration variations in fMRI to improve layer fMRI specificity. And I will present like each subtopic, like for example, how to map the influence of natural respiration variations at high resolution using 7T-MRI, and then compare those respiration effects from natural respiration with those from controlled breathing tasks like deep breath and breath holder, and then demonstrate their special correlation with microvascular density. And they use this respiration variation revealed information to remove voxels that are mostly affected by microvascular channeling, enhance laminar fMRI specificity. And the sequence we used in this study is so it's like a layer specific, like a more layer specific fMRI measurements. The acquisition is a 3D EPI, and there are some preparation by manipulated some parameter in the preparation, we can have different contrast. For example, for fMRI measurements, we design a sequence alternating between control, and something prepared API. So a control API is basically a normal 3D API. It will give us a bold image. And so we can use this for bold correction or to factor out the T2 star term. And in every other volume will also acquire the identity prepared 3D API. So it will, those identities are basically a blood like a suppression module. It will give us like intravascular contrast combined both like a facial and perfusion. So we call it a vapor. So we call it vapor image. And so for fMRI measurement, we have both bold and vapor. Vapor is like more level specific. And for the data analysis, we don't like use MP2 range. We just use the same sequence like with identical 3D API acquisition. We just change like the parameter gradient parameter in the preparation. So turn this preparation into a binomial pulse train. So it could generate MT contrast, gives us a very good anatomical contrast. And all those images, because their acquisition are identical, so those images acquired, they will match during acquisition. So we don't need to do any kind of alignment registration. We can do all data analysis in native fMRI space, extract the laminar profile in native fMRI space. And the resolution is 0.8 millimeter here, like with almost the whole brain coverage. The TR is relatively long, 5.8 like seconds. And here is our first results from nature respiration like in fMRI. This like kind of results it could from any kind of normal fMRI, either from resting state or task design fMRI. So here the first row shows the respiration curve we recorded from one period of those normal fMRI. The subject like did just like they didn't do anything about respiration. They just like do the normal fMRI. So the respiration is quite like stable. And but at the same time point, this is automatically detected. You can see at the same time point, the respiration actually there are some like subtle change. The subject, even the subject, I think they didn't notice it at all. But there are some like a subtle change, like here the depth maybe change a little bit, here the period change a little bit. So there are some changes, like some subtle like respiration change. And when there's those respiration change, if you like look at the image intensity very carefully, for example, use AFNI program 3D account, you will find like at those time points, there actually will be more voxels. Their image intensity will be deviating away from the original like signal intensity trend. And so based on this, like we can divide this fMRI like time series fMRI images into two subgroups. One is the image like belongs to the that was acquired when the respiration is relatively stable. And the second subgroup is the image that was acquired when there's like some very small like respiration change, like as marked up here by the dashed line. And here is the vapor image. And in the vapor image, you can see it very clearly, like acquired during stable respiration, the image is very consistent. But when the respiration like shows some like variation, you can see there are some the intensity change, for example, here marked by those like L. So there will be some like intensity change. You can see it very clearly. Like for example, here is quite bright, here becomes darker, and here also here you can see this is a large vessel. So this intravascular single intensity change, you can see it very clearly in vapor. In body image, this is not that clear because body image, the intensity is mostly contributed by tissue. But here for vapor, because we removed out those tissue like a lot of tissue like contribution. So and it highlighted those intravascular. So this effect is very clear. And when we do this analysis, we need to make sure there's no like, for example, your head motion is well below the sensor threshold. So make sure this effect is not caused by the head motion. So it can reflect the real like respiration effects. So you can So here, basically, by comparing those two groups of image, we can generate a map. And this map, I think it could reflect the respiration effect. But to understand it, we ask the question, how does it compare to the patterns induced by controlled breathing tasks like deep breath and breath hold? Because those two tasks are more established to study respiration effect in previous study. And the second question is, how can we understand this pattern? Does this pattern reflect like a large vessel macrovascular like density distribution? If it is, then it could be very useful to improve fMRI specificity. So we did our first experiment, like a deep breath experiment for comparison and also to understand how respiration affect this pattern. And here the blue curves show the actual like respiration curve, like subject first like rest and then take 3 cycles of deep breath and then rest. And here the dark and gray boxes show our acquisition window of each volume. They are very well like synchronized here because we specifically designed in this way. And the bottom show the vapor image in this like in this time period of acquisition. And the bottom highlights the rest, the image acquired during rest, and the image acquired during deep breath. You can see a very like a very obvious intensity change, for example, marked here by the red arrows. So here becomes dark. Oh, and if we like do a calculation, like use a color map to highlight the difference. This like a single change induced by deep breath is most pronounced in the voxels around the large vessels. And here our acquisition is very well like aligned with the breathing phase, either breathing in or breathing out. You can imagine if we shift the relatively timing between the breathing curve and our acquisition window, this pattern could change. So we did an experiment to test this. So here, the blue curve shows the respiration curve, and the white and the gray bar shows our acquisition window of each volume. So we shifted the relative timing between respiration and our acquisition here. So if you focus on here, like here, in this condition, we call it a breath phase of 0 degree because here the border image is acquired exactly like totally only in like during breathe out phase. And the second condition we call the breath phase 90 degree. And here the body image, the control image is acquired during the transition period from breathe in to breathe out. And the third condition we call the 180 degree. And here the body image, control image is acquired when the subject is doing a breathe in, and the force is also shifted again. The image acquired during the transition period. And the bottom shows the signal, the signal change like by comparing those deep breaths with the rest. So for those 4 conditions, like so for those 4 different relative timing between acquisition and breathing phase, the signal change are very different. So in this ROI, like highlighted by the red voxels. So for example, it has a maximum positive signal change when the breath phase is 0 degree. So the acquisition, if it acquired during this kind of condition, the signal change is maximal, positive maximized. And if it's acquired like during this condition, if we align it in this way, the signal change is negative like a maximum. And if we acquire the image like during the transition period, the signal change is actually very close to 0. It's kind of like a sine wave. However, the interesting thing is if you look at the same region, but just some nearby voxels, those phase, like respiration phase modulation pattern is totally different. So like, for example, here, the voxels, they are just next to each other. But if you look at the signal change, how they are affected by the breath phase, it's very different. Here, the signal change is highest when we acquire the image during the transition periods. And the RI3, RI4, they shifted again. And so basically two findings here. First, those respiration-related signal change are modulated by breath phase during acquisition. It means if your fMRI image if it's acquired in like a breathe in phase or breathe out or in the transition period, the effects of respiration on your fMRI is very different. And the second, those breath phase modulation pattern are very different, even in a same breath region, but just in nearby voxels, they could be very different. It could be either positive or negative or zero. So it gives us suggestions when you do those kind of analysis. You cannot really simply like average them across time, because different time you may have different breath phase. You can also not just acquire simply in, for example, just in one brain region, because even nearby voxel, those effect could be like could be different, like could be opposite. So it may cancel each out. And the third findings here we measured both bold and vapor, and you can see those two measurements gives us a very similar like pattern. So there is no significant difference between bold and vapor regarding these respiration effects. And we like so for here, because there's like those like respiration effect, it has like could be either positive or negative. So we just take the absolute signal change, ignore is positive or negative, just take the absolute maximum signal change like induced by the breath regarding the breath phase, and combined generate a map. This map is basically combined by like take the difference between the fMRI image during deep breath and rest to generate this map. Similar idea for from nature breath, like a nature breath, we can also by comparing the image like acquired during like there's like a subtle like respiration change with those like image acquired relatively during a relatively stable respiration, have a loss map. And we also did an experiment like a deep breath hold experiments. So the subject rest and then do breathe in, out, and then hold the respiration. And then we will compare the image acquired during breath hold with the rest period, and generated those map, respiration effect map from the breath holding experiment. By just visually looking into this, you can see this like a spatial distribution of respiration effect is very similar. And we did spatial like a correlation analysis by using Renzo, the program divided by Renzo and Fluger, divide the cerebral cortex into 1,000 columns. And in each column, we capture the mean like respiration effects from nature breath, deep breath, and breath hold. You can see they are all highly correlated. So bring deep breath and nature breath, deep breath, breath hold, and nature breath, breath hold. They are all highly correlated. It suggests the respiration maps generated from normal fMRI run are very similar to those from deep breath or breath hold. And so next we are going to ask the question: does those respiration variation related fMRI maps reflect macrovascular density? Can those maps like suggest a distribution of large vessels? So to answer this question, we need we need a vasculature segmentation. We need like a vascular density like a distribution map. So here we use methods developed in this paper, and it's based on GRE like SWI and QSM image. For example, for the wings segmentation, for the wings like those voxels, it will showing I think dark in SWI and QI and bright in white in QSM, so we can segment wings. And for the artery vessels, it will be bright in vapor, so we can have those like a vascular segmentation, include both like large vessels of arterioles and wings. And then we can do analysis, spatial correlation analysis between those vasculature segmentation and our respiration map from different like breathing task. So They are still, so here is the results. They are still like significantly correlated between nature breath vascular density, between deep breath vascular density, breath hold vascular density. So this suggests the respiration effect on fMRI does reflect my macrovascular density. So this is very good. It suggests us we can just use those respiration map to identify those voxels around the large vessels. But you may ask a question why we just take for example, the vascular segmentation just to remove those like large vessel voxels. I think the reason for that why I don't think that's a good idea because the effect of large vessels on fMRI is not just limited to the voxels have large vessels. It will around the surrounding region. So yeah. So let's and also another benefit of use respiration is like we don't need any additional data. So you can just look into the data you acquired before, just find a way to divide your data. For example, one run of your fMRI into two subgroup. So that and one group like acquired the image acquired when the respiration they show some variation, and the other group acquired when the respiration is relatively stable. And in this way, we can generate a map, identify those voxels mostly most sensitive to the respiration variations. And this could reflect the large vessel like distribution. And here is an example. Here the subject was watching visual checkboard stimuli, and we measure their both bold and vapor signal change across different cortical depths. And here the cortical depths and ROI are automatically generated based on the MT API. There's no manual like those kind of segmentation thing. And the red curves shows the laminar profile, laminar response before we remove out any respiration-related voxels. And the blue curves shows the after we remove those respiration-related voxels. You can see this superficial bias is actually could be reduced in both bold and also for vapor. For the vapor, like before we remove any respiration-related voxel, its superficial bias is already like much less compared to bold. But with after we remove those respiration-related voxel, it will become even better, also similar in bold. And here is the individual results. And individual results is basically, it varies really a lot. So like, for example, here is like 9 subjects. And if you look at just the focus on the vapor results, for the vapor results, like a red curve, it's already quite good. The superficial bias is already reduced quite a lot in a lot of subjects. However, still in a few subjects, and I'm sure if you are doing layer-fMRI, for example, using facial, you will see the superficial bias is much reduced. Facial did quite a good job in a lot of subjects, but in some subjects, it's still like the superficial bias is still there even in facial. For example, here like subject 7. So for vapor image, like this is bold. You see a very strong like superficial bias. In vapor image, you also see that even though there's no genuine effect, I suggest that there should be like large vessels around the cortical surface. And by remove those voxels, like more sensitive respiration, these superficial bias are much, could be those residual like superficial bias could be like significantly like suppressed. And also for bold, because for both, even so you reduce those superficial bias because by exclude those voxels most sensitive to respiration, so we think it exclude a lot of like large vessel voxels, but still because you still have genuine effect, so you still have a quite a strong like superficial bias even so you remove those like large vessel voxels because there's still genuine effects. But anyway, like in both bold and vapor, after we remove those voxels, respiration-related voxels, the superficial bias could be reduced, so your laminar specificity could be improved. So here is the summary of this talk. So basically, our results show the respiration-related fMRI signal change are modulated by breath phase. So if your fMRI image are quite in different like respiration phase, if your image are quite doing breathe in or breathe out, or in the transition period, like from breathe in to out or from breathe out to breathe in, the image could be very different. The respiration effect could be very different. And also this phase, like a breathe phase related like effect could be very different across various voxel location. Even so, in the same brain region, nearby voxels could be affected very differently by the respiration effect. And the second, we demonstrate those respiration maps from normal fMRI, such as task-oriented, also similar in resting state, are very similar to those from deep breath and breath hold. So you don't need any additional data to do a deep breath or breath hold experiment. You just look into your normal fMRI data to divide those into two groups. One group with relatively high, like with some like respiration variation, you can generate this map. And third, this respiration effect map could show a significant like spatial correlation with the vasculature automatically segmented from based on SWI and QSIM image. And fourth, most crucially, by removing those voxels most responsible to respiration variations, we can refine high resolution FR measurements to be more specific, improve the accuracy. And that's everything I want to share today. Yeah. Do you have any questions?